Hello guys, I plan to analyze three companies. The first company is being Apple, the second one Microsoft, and the third one Alphabet. This is going to be split into two videos. In this video I'll analyze Apple and Microsoft, and then the next one I'm going to analyze Alphabet. I am going to analyze them and share my opinion with you about them, and you may take my opinion into consideration when making your own financial decisions. In any case, I'd like to begin the video with Apple. Now, as you can see from Yahoo Finance, Apple has beaten its first two quarterly earnings. It met its third quarterly earning. It bet its fourth quarterly earning last year. And as you can see, the estimate for its first quarterly earning this year is higher than the estimate for its first quarterly earning last year. Now, in terms of the share price, the company started off at the beginning of the pandemic. The company was at 77 and it peaked at 177. Before I get into the financial statement, I'd like to talk about Microsoft's share price and earnings. From Yahoo Finance, you can see that Microsoft has beaten all four of its quarterly earnings last year. And once again, the estimate for its first quarterly earning this year is higher than the estimate for its first quarterly earning last year. Now, Microsoft has experienced a higher increase in share price compared to Apple. The company started off at 170 and it peaked at 336. Let us now talk about the company's financial statements. Before I get into their finances, I'd like to talk about two things. The first thing is the current conflict and how it affects Apple. As you may have heard, the company has suspended its product sale in Russia, and it has limited access to Apple Pay in Russia. Now, what this means is that no new revenue will come from Russia nor from Ukraine into the company. It should be noted that Apple only earns 2% of its global revenue from Russia. So this move by management shouldn't have a significant impact on the company. We should also remember that many other companies have done the same thing as Apple. This includes Microsoft as well. Microsoft has suspended all sales of service and products in Russia. Yet again, this means that Microsoft will not earn any new revenue from Russia, but they won't be significantly impacted by this move. Microsoft also earns 1 to 2% of its revenue from Russia. So this pullback isn't a significant setback for the company. The second thing I'd like to talk about is the current bill the US Congress is considering. The US Congress is considering a bill which aims to allow sideloading. Now, what this means is that sideloading is when a user downloads an application without using an app store. Now, this aims to make the market more free, more open. However, as investors, this is bad news for Apple. The company does earn a significant amount from its App Store, and if this bill is passed, then all of that revenue which comes from the App Store could disappear. So this is a big problem for the company. Now, how Apple's management will deal with this problem is yet to be seen. As investors, we have to take into account of such setbacks, and we have to observe this, because if the bill is passed, then Apple will lose some revenue, and we need to keep an eye on it. In any case, let us now go through their financial statement. As you can see, Apple has increased its revenue significantly. In 2019, it was at 260,000, and in 2021, it was at 365,000. This is a massive increase in revenue. It could partially be due to inflation, but it's more likely that sales for the company have risen, and such increase in revenue is very positive news for investors. Very positive news for investors, because this increase in revenue corresponds to an increase in income to shareholders. Income rose from 55,000 to 94,000, and this is mainly due to an increase in revenue. And once again, it is good news to Apple investors. Now, Apple may be buying its shares. If that is the case, then the share price could increase. However, it should not increase significantly. In 2019, financial activity was at 90,000, and in 2021, it was at 93,000. This is a small increase, and it could potentially mean that there will be a small increase in share price. The next thing I'd like to talk about is cash and investment activity. As you can see, cash did drop from 48,000 to 34,000. Now, this could indicate this, as you can see from the financial statement, the company did increase its investment activity. Now, this could mean that the company is trying to save its cash, is trying to protect its cash from inflation, and they're trying to do this through investment activity. Now, what Apple is investing in is unknown to me, but hopefully we'll see how these investments work out for them in the future. Now, even though cash dropped to 34,000, it's nothing to be worried about. This is still a substantial amount of cash. The company is able to protect itself with this amount. It's able to save itself if something happens. So there's nothing to be worried about. That being said, a concern for me is Apple's equity. As you can see, Apple's equity dropped from 90,000 to 63,000. This is a massive drop in equity. It indicates to me that liabilities have risen on the end, assets have not. You can see that in Apple's case, you can see that current assets have actually dropped. They dropped from 162,000 to 134,000. This is something to be concerned about, as we don't like to see a fall in equity, and hopefully the company will be able to increase its assets and decrease its liabilities. We can see that inventory for the company has increased from 4,000 to 6,000. Now this is likely due to the lack of chips. The company is waiting for chips. It has produce, but it can't sell it because they don't have chips. Now that is all I have to say about Apple. The company has strong financials. It is a safe company. It is a company which definitely has potential. And most importantly, it has products which are highly demanded and continue to be sold. Again, the two concerns for me is equity and the bill. Hopefully they will be able to manage equity. They'll decrease liabilities and increase assets, hopefully, in the future. As for the bill, we have to wait. We have to observe. We have to see how management deals with this bill. But it could potentially be a problem for Apple. Now that I've finished Apple, I'd like to talk about Microsoft's financial statement. Now, the first thing to note is Microsoft's increase in investment activity from negative 15,000 to negative 27,000. Now, this increase in investment activity might be linked to the acquisition of Nuance. Microsoft had acquired Nuance not too long ago. Now, the acquisition of Nuance means that Microsoft has now more skilled labor for the company, and it brings Nuance's conversational AI and ambient intelligence into Microsoft. Now, what will they do with these new assets, these new resources, is yet to be determined, but as we can see, the company is making movements in the market, which is always nice to see. Now, as you can see, the total assets for Microsoft have risen significantly from 280,000 to 333,000. Now, this increase is mainly due to long-term assets. The company has increased its PPE, and it's likely that this increase in PPE may be linked to the acquisition of Nuance. But it could also indicate that the company is investing somewhere else. Now, next thing to take note of is the increase in income. The company did increase its income from 39,000 to 61,000. This is almost a 50% increase, and it's good news for investors. It's something we like to see. As for financial activity, the company did increase its financial activity from 36,000 to 48,000. This increase in financial activity may mean that the company is now buying more of its shares, and it may mean that the company's share price will increase. Now, let us rate the two companies. Once again, I'm going to talk about Alphabet in part 2 of this video. For now, let us focus on Apple and Microsoft. I am going to place Apple in the buy section. The company does have a problem with a decrease in equity, and it does have to worry about the bill which may or may not be passed. That being said, the company has a significant amount of revenue. Its products are highly sellable, highly demanded worldwide, and its financial statement is good. It has a very good values. It is a very safe company. It has a strong defense, good income, and for those reasons I do think that it's worth considering buying. The same goes for Microsoft. I am placing Microsoft in the buy section. Microsoft also has powerful revenue. It has good income. Unlike Apple, it did not experience a decrease in equity. On the contrary, it experienced an increase from 100,000 to 141,000, which is again positive news for us. And the company has very good values in their financial statement. It's a company, once again, Microsoft is worth considering buying. Now, this is all I have to say about the two companies. Both companies have strong financial statements. Both companies sell products, services, which are highly demanded. And I honestly think that they're worth considering buying. Now, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe. And see you in the next video.